As soon as I see a little arrow here,
I
get
think
rid
we're
of that.
good.
All right, we're live. All right. Hey, we're live. We're at Stories at Sundown. I'm Mac McCullough from Willard Library. Broadcasting indoors tonight. Sorry, the threat of rain just kept me inside. Call me a wimp if you will. My guest tonight is V Word. V is
Hello.
V is the well, your title says community engagement, so I'm going to say you oversee community engagement for Morning Light. Morning Light was created to provide entrepreneurs with skills, right, and knowledge that they need to succeed, but also to create an environment in which they can thrive with each other, create community. And you've been there how long, V?
I have.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to share the post on Facebook and it started talking at me. So I have actually been with the program for 2.5 years now. And it's been super awesome. I've met so many fantastic entrepreneurs and people with ideas. It's been really awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a good time.
Well, and I'm so glad that you're here tonight. We got a lot that we could cover. I mean, just getting acquainted, we had a hard time ending the conversation. So we'll try to get you out of here by bedtime anyway.
We'll definitely have to cap it between the two of us.
So V's local, and I went on social media to learn a little bit about you, and this quote that you quote Richard Branson about how the greatest misadventures are born from frustration. Your mission is out to solve some of those frustrations, and so what are you talking about there?
Oh my gosh, for me, I'm a problem solver by nature. I think that's just the way my brain works. So if ever there's an issue, my brain is automatically trying to figure out what is the solution? How can we make this more equitable? How can we do this faster? Like things like that. Like that's just the way that my brain works. So I think that when you think of any industry, every single business that exists because of a pain point, right? So there was something, regardless of if you think it's important or not, someone thinks it is, and those people spend money, and that's what boosts our economy, right?
Right.
So I think that, leaning into your frustrations a little bit, can present opportunities. Like, for example, our program, right? There was a gap, just a lack of general resources for entrepreneurs in Battle Creek. And here we are trying to fill the gap.
Yeah. So tell us your story. How did you end up here? I know you were born here. You grew up here.
So I grew up in Battle Creek. I am a Bearcat. I graduated from Battle Creek Central, went off to CMU, came back to Battle Creek, literally have been here ever since. I initially came back to kind of work with some local organizations to do some entrepreneurship related things. I've had so many startup ideas. I'm just, oh my gosh, and I've failed a lot. And, my passion is entrepreneurship. I love startup culture. I love small businesses. I love that phase where someone's like, I have this amazing idea, and they're just so excited about it because I felt it, right? Like I'm an artist. I started Black Sheep, a music label, with two of my best friends from high school. That's been a blast. So we're business owners, right? So I like to think that, the work that we do is like a passion project for all of us. Like our whole team for Morning Light is comprised of entrepreneurs. You spoke with Justin. He's doing some amazing things in the community. and Jenny, she's doing some coaching work with entrepreneurs, and she has her own things going on. So yeah, I'm very thankful to be entangled in the community here. I honestly never thought that I would be back.
Yeah.
And I think that's a common narrative for people my age that are in Battle Creek.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a blessing for sure. I think there's some work that needs to be done and some fun projects, and just excited about all of it. But yeah, entrepreneurship seems to be the theme, that and the problem solving. I love a good puzzle.
Well, you mentioned that common thread that's on my show too. A lot of folks that I've had on my show, or this program, I should say, feels like a show. Doesn't it feel like a show?
It is a show. It feels very showy. Yes.
A lot of folks talk about, having that vision of themselves leaving and then finding something that brings them back. And I'm kind of curious about you. I mean, what brought you back?
Yeah, to be honest, I was in school and I was like, this is not great. I don't like it a whole lot. And I needed a break. So I came back home to where things were safe and stable. I was trying not to rack up too much debt. Obviously, I have student loans I need to pay off and things like that. So,
Sure.
Yeah, I came back super optimistic about these business ideas that I had in my head. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be the next Steve Jobs. That's going to be it. And that's all she wrote. And I think every entrepreneur has the beautiful rude awakening where the world is like, hey, we don't necessarily need your idea. Or, hey, I guess maybe not. I don't know. So yeah, for me, it was definitely seeking comfort and stability, and just a new start. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I just came home. I was like, I just need to be home.
Well, I mean, and that kind of gets back to what we talked about, and what you say, what in the description of what Morning Light really is about. It's not just the knowledge and skills. I mean, there's been a lot of those kinds of programs over the years in Battle Creek and elsewhere. This is really about creating an ecosystem, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you plant one flower, I mean, it works, right? But plants thrive when there are others around. And if I have a plant that needs shade, I need a tree, right? Like, these are things you have to build the infrastructure around, people and organizations and ideas for them to thrive. I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about that when, they're trying to do something. It's like, hey, build the structure, build the bones, right? The thing that's going to support everything else. You're absolutely right.
You talk a lot about entrepreneurship and art almost as the same thing. And
Yeah.
So I kind of want to describe what a healthy ecosystem is.
I love that question. I think a healthy ecosystem for, I'll just say creatives, and this is including artists, entrepreneurs, anyone that's trying to start something. I think a healthy ecosystem is comprised of the knowledge, resources with knowledge, right? So these are like education, all of that, the not so sexy stuff, right? But then also infrastructure, system related things that don't make the process super difficult, right? If you're wanting to start, hey, I want to start this business, it's like, okay, here are all of these things that you need to do. okay, cool. I have the knowledge of all of the things that I need to do. But when I go and knock on this door and this guy is making this process a lot harder than it should be because of, it could be anything, right? Could be red tape, could be legislation, could be racism, could be anything, right? And that infrastructure ingrained into the inner workings of a city, the inner workings of whatever system you're trying to get into, that needs to be established as well. So education, infrastructure with equity kind of tangled in, right?
Yeah.
So that people have what they need to do what they need to do. And then community building, right? Opportunities for people to connect with each other, connect with like-minded people, connect with, people that may be a little bit further along the road than they are. That's super important. I think that's one of the most important things, actually, is like, hey, if you can introduce me to someone who's just like a month to like 6 months out ahead of me, I guarantee I'm going to learn a lot more from that person than Steve Jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like that I'm going to be able to talk and have conversation with that individual. They'll probably give me some more nuggets that I need than, someone who's made it already. So, I think community building, education, and then that infrastructure, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's a healthy ecosystem to me, regardless of what sector it's in.
Right. And you talk about equity too. And there's an element of collective good in creating an ecosystem where people can create things. I mean, they don't always succeed, but some do, and they take root. And it's kind of a mindset about how we're all in it together. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. I think that we were kind of just talking about this with social media and things like that. I think it's kind of created this wedge between humans, and like we're lacking certain interactions that may level us up, just because of ego and just all kinds of things. It's just, we just need more of each other and less of the other stuff.
The photos that are on your website, and I posted that up there a little bit ago, and I'll do it again before the end of the show, but everybody looks like they're having such a good time. But they do. I mean, you all do. Every photo I see of you, you're laughing just like you are now, smiling like you are now, unless you're trying to have, attitude. But
true.
But, what has it been like in working with the cohorts and then the community that you supported during this really difficult time for either established business or startups? How has that played out?
Oh my God, there's been a myriad of stories, just so many different things have happened. I mean, there have been businesses that have shut down because of the pandemic. There are businesses that, were poised to open up locations and then got forced to pivot, and then there are certain businesses that decided to open something up, i.e. Cafe Rica, right before the pandemic happened, and are thriving and doing well. So I think that, oh my God, it's been a bunch of mixed emotions for me personally, because I love, the fact that our program exists and we are a resource, and, people can call us whenever. But I also know that it was really rough on a lot of people this past year, and not so much revenue wise or anything like that, just spiritually and mentally, just really taxing, because, when we were in it, we didn't necessarily see the way out. We didn't see that there was an end in sight. And when you have your baby, i.e. your business idea or something, who's out in the wilderness when this crazy pandemic is happening, it takes a toll on you. And, that's why in our programming, we make sure to kind of address the mentality side of things, because it's so important. You're a human first, right? You're
Right.
not a business first. You are a person first. So being able to say like, hey, what can I help you with as a human today? How can I, help? Do you need to talk? Like what, what do you need? Yeah, I think we've definitely had to double down on wellness checks and just making sure that everyone's mentally okay. And, if they have family issues and things like that, we're just taking care.
Yeah.
I think the whole world has learned that. It's like, hey, we're in this together and we have to figure it out, but I'm going to take the time that I do have to care about you. And then there are others that don't, obviously. But I think the majority of folks kind of felt that during the pandemic. And a lot of small businesses have been collaborating and supporting each other. And I don't know, it's been really interesting. Some of the businesses that we've worked with have doubled their revenue. And I'm like, I don't know how that happened, but it's amazing, for them to be able to pivot and, do online sales and do things that they wouldn't have done before. So,
Hey, we have our first comment. So
that's my sister.
hi, sis.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
I mean, it's such a leap of faith to go out and start something on your own too.
Mm.
And so all these things buffeting against you, that can really erode your faith. So I imagine that, you're talking about wellness checks and checking in on people. I mean, that gives folks the strength or, the confidence, to keep moving forward. Right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's a lonely one. The journey of starting anything, is a lonely one. Yeah, so trying to make sure that folks have, what they need and at least someone to listen.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
important.
So I want to get into the slideshow we have, but you said, you failed a lot. So how about sharing a couple of things that you tried that just didn't go, and what did you learn from them?
Yeah, no, it's so funny. I was thinking about that last year, is that I don't talk about this very often, and I should. Um, Everyone sees like Black Sheep and Morning Light and all of these Color the Creek and everything that I'm involved in, and they're like, oh my God, it's so amazing. It's like, no. So I actually had an app idea, and sadly found out that it existed like very, very, very long into the process of kind of creating it, right? Like it drafted a whole business plan. I've talked to developers and they're like, oh my God, like amazing. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, went through all of that. And it was just a Google search away. And I honestly learned that like, you can have good ideas, right? That's awesome. But first of all, it's not necessarily who does it first, but who does it best, right? That was one thing that I learned. And I also learned that market research is really important. Market research is very important. And that was something that I didn't really do. I didn't spend a lot of time doing it. And yeah, it was super strange. I was like, I'm defeated. Like I feel terrible. Excuse me. And I haven't touched or thought about that idea since then. But
I'm sorry to bring it up.
No. It's totally fine. I think something personally that I learned as well about myself is the fact that I am a very determined person. So like when I have something on my plate, like I'm the type of person that would rather stay up late to get something done than put it off until tomorrow. And sometimes that, you know, you exhaust all of your energy and you're just doing too much, you know? So part of that was learning how to rest and take a break, you know, like it didn't actually sink in until like the longest break ever, which was the pandemic last year. But yeah, those little lessons of like, hey, like you think you may know everything, but you don't. You don't know everything, and that's okay. It's fine. It's
Nobody
totally
does, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to go ahead and put up the slides you shared with me. Tell me about Freedom City.
Just a second. Hang on just a second. My allergies have been killing me. I didn't want to give you a nose blow on camera. So, so Freedom City is honestly, it's a lot of things. Originally started off as a collective, like just a creative collective between folks here. And this is a project that Justin and I and a few others have been working on. We recently learned a lot about the cooperative model. I think there's a lot of power in community ownership. So it's something that we've been thinking about. So this is essentially like the starting ground for a lot of different projects, including Color the Creek, and also a lot of the work that we do with Black Sheep, a lot of work that, you know, Free City Mag does as well. So we're honestly just building, again, that infrastructure so that the creative ideas that we have thrive, right? So being able to say, you know, if we want to create a funding mechanism somehow, let's do this. Yes, Tom. Yes, community ownership. Absolutely. But yeah, so it's kind of like building the thing that all of the creative entities are housed in so that there is community ownership and collaboration between us.
Well, that's your creation under the Michigan Avenue Bridge, right?
No. This is a piece by Birdseed Anthony. His name's Anthony. And he's amazing. Does these pieces all over the world. Literally, if you see this design, it's him. He's super consistent. And the coolest thing about this piece is actually that he invites, he invited the community out to help. So a lot of us painted this with him. And it was a beautiful experience to be a part of that. It was really beautiful. So.
And what was the name again? I'm sorry.
His Instagram name is Birdseed Anthony, but I think his name is Anthony. I think Garcia may be his last name. But yeah, he's amazing. Shout out to you. Yes, that's him actually in the neon shirt. Yeah, so Justin is amazingly connected to a plethora of artists, and Jay actually has done quite a few pieces here, including the one inside Cafe Rica. He's at the front with the white shirt. And Jairo, who is the man in the black shirt, it was his first time here in Battle Creek for the last Color of the Creek, and they connected and made this crazy piece on the tattoo shop. It blows my mind every time I look at it. I mean, I watched it happen, but I mean, these people are like performers. Like when you watch them, it's like watching a dancer or watching anyone like a musician or anything. It's captivating. So if you ever hear about Color the Creek happening, it is happening this year. So make sure to come downtown and visit and see these artists as they're creating. This is a piece by Giselle. You said that you'd interviewed him. Yeah,
he was on show about a year ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he did this piece at the zoo, which is really awesome. There's so many photos with this piece in it. It's insane. But yeah, he did a great job on that.
He did a beautiful mural at the library in the lower level too. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah. He does great work.
Yeah.
He does great work. So these guys, obviously, with all of the just unrest that happened during the George Floyd situation, and just all of the political things that were going on, Justin put together the Black Lives Matter mural wall. That first photo that you saw was of Jamari, actually, Jamari Taylor, painting that wall. These guys actually came and did pieces as well. And yeah, they're super awesome. Yeah. So yeah, Black Sheep is my venture, I will call it that, with my friends. We created a record label back, I always forget if it's 2014 or 2015. But yeah, that's just a, yes, okay. Yeah. It's a,
too soon?
I'm sorry?
Did I switch the slide too soon?
Oh, no. You're fine. In fact, yeah, just you can run through them if you want. The rehearsal room is a project that we put together because of COVID and because of the pandemic. So it was like a live session type of situation, and we're still continuing to do that, thankfully. We got some grant funding from Penetrator Events, which is Jeremy Andrews' project. I'm super grateful for him. But yeah, we put that on, and it's kind of our own version of NPR's Tiny Desk. Yeah. So we love exposing local artists. That's part of our job, is to connect folks to artists they haven't heard before that are local. So yeah, that was super exciting experience. These are just photos that we took during that time frame. And yeah, we got AJ actually from the Inquirer did a really beautiful article about how the pandemic was shaping music at the time, and had a lot of different perspectives from a lot of different artists here. So thankfully she included us. We're super happy about that. But that's part of our team right there. Bunch of musicians and amazing folks that like to make cool things happen here. So love it. Yeah, love these photos so much.
Yeah, they are nice.
Yeah. So we're planning to have Earth Radio join us. So everyone follow Black Sheep, shameless plug, on Facebook for all of our new content coming up. And a V instead of an A on that, just in case you get confused.
And then and there's Giselle. What's that about?
So the Soapbox series is actually something that we created for Morning Light. Was and is, I guess, a series where we highlight a local entrepreneur. And like you said, artists are entrepreneurs. Like Giselle is a business. Yeah. He has to make money and, do what he has to do. So we set up in, I don't know if you probably do know him, Eric McLeod from Cloudy Productions. Yeah, he has amazing studio in his backyard.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a great dude. And he, he let us shoot the full interviews there. And these are like full interviews, like all of the glory and all of the mistakes and all of the good stuff. So we actually have some of them released on our Morning Light page. So feel free to look that up and check those out. But yeah, an amazing experience. And then we had like a little live kind of audience, the little peanut gallery, I like to call them. But it was really awesome just to have all of those entrepreneurs connect with each other. And that's Pikun you see there.
Yeah.
I love her so much. I
She's
mean, yeah, like a powerhouse of a woman, man.
Yeah.
Powerhouse.
Yeah, her story is awesome.
Yeah. So this is the project, the Black Lives Matter mural wall that I mentioned before. Obviously a Color the Creek project, but it's a little bit different than what Justin normally does because it is such a huge collaborative project, and it's something that, was so quickly turned around because of, like, in response to all of the things that were going on. So yeah, it's mesmerizing. I don't know if you've been down there, but it's a great time. Unfortunately, it did get vandalized, and we thank God we have such an amazing community here. Everyone just dropped everything and came out and started cleaning the wall. So had to been like 30 or so people just out there scrubbing for hours and hours and hours. So super thankful for our community. I mean, there's no place like Battle Creek. I like to say it. Some people don't and won't ever understand it, but there's magic here.
Yeah.
There's magic here.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not quite as, in front. We talked about when we first got to know each other about, how, we're still missing some things for the arts community to really thrive. I mean, it's still a struggle. There was times in our history when the ecosystem was more ripe, where, we had some great musicians come out of Battle Creek, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah. And that didn't happen in a vacuum. That happened in a community that held them up.
That's exactly it. I mean, you think of art and culture in general, a lot of artists don't get their, the accolades that they deserve until they're gone, which is unfortunate. But it's all about support, community support, and it's that infrastructure piece. I think we definitely have a very talented pool of artists here. I just think they need support. They need infrastructure. They need opportunities. And I think that, it takes, a change in thought to understand that culture, art is a part of economic development. And, it's a very significant part of why a community city thrives, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's huge.
Yeah. And so how do you feel about where we're at right now as a community? Going in the right direction?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are, there's, I was actually talking to Jill Anderson. Do you know who she is?
Oh, yeah. Who's been a guest on this show?
she's the bomb.com.
Yeah.
But we were talking, and, like I mentioned before, there's magic here, but there are some really stubborn people who want Battle Creek to be awesome. Yeah. And as many people as we can get together that want that to happen. And, we just want this place to be somewhere where ideas can thrive, feel free to dream, right? To be able to say, I live in a place where I'm going to be supported regardless of, what I have going on. Hey, Kathy. Regardless of what you're doing, we want to see the city thrive. And, there's some stubborn folks that are like, hey, I don't care what it takes. We're going to make magic happen. And, we don't really care. It's that kind of attitude that I think that the Kellogg brothers have or had. They were like, we're just going to do it. And I think people in general think too much about what other people think about what they're doing. So I think if we can limit the fear that comes, I love you, Jill. The fear that comes along with just, I don't know, just creating. And because that's it. There's a lot of fear,
Yeah. Well, something else that keeps coming up as you're talking is there's so much still to discover. I mean, we've just talked about a whole bunch of people that we both know, and some of them made comments, but yet you and I didn't know each other, right?
I know.
Well, and so there's a whole lot out there that you just got to get out and see it and experience it and be a part of it and support it, right?
Yeah. And I think, the more the merrier. Like, let's hang out. Let's all, lean on each other, and, we can do more and we can do better together. Like, it's not some cheesy thing that you slap on a sticker. Like, it's actually true. Like, it's actually true.
We get to be cynical. Social media, all the other stuff, we get cynical about slogans. Like, it's almost like it becomes a slogan and we discredit it. But no, you're right. We are better together.
We're smarter together too.
Yeah, all of that. And there's Kimberly. So, well, V, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on. I told you I tried to shoot for a half an hour and we're only 7 minutes over. So we did pretty good.
It's all good. I could be here all night.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on, and I'll be really interested in how things play out this summer and going forward. And glad you came back and stayed.
Yeah, absolutely. So great to meet you. And I know we'll have a ton of other conversations besides this one. Absolutely. I still need to pick your brain about that book we were just talking about. So
I need people to pick. It's a hard book. The book she's talking about, we don't have a copy of it, but it's called The Master and His Emissary by Ian Gilchrist. And maybe someday we'll do a whole show on that. It's about left brain, right brain, thinking, and the master is the right brain and the emissary is the left brain, but he posits that we have it backwards right now to our detriment. So if you want to listen to it, it's only 27 hours long. So.
It's only a day and some change,
Just take a weekend.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, and thank you everybody for watching and your comments. I just love them. Next week, we have Josh Holderbaum. You know Josh V?
I don't think so. See, I'm tuning in though. I'm gonna get to know Josh.
Yeah, Josh is I think his title is operations manager for Community Museum, but he is born and raised in Battle Creek. His mom runs the Arts Center. His dad, I think, Goodwill Center. I might get that wrong. Forgive me if I got that wrong, folks out there. I don't know everything. Sometimes I just pretend to know everything. But he's a storyteller. He's a collector, like you read about. His toy collection is just amazing, and he has a really great attitude. So we're gonna see some of that. And he's got this dream. So he should be talking to you about creating a toy museum.
Oh my goodness! What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. So come back next week, and we'll have more stories at Sundown. So,
awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You take care.
See
and
ya.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.